Yo, what is going on YouTube? It's your boy Dan, aka aDrive. But you guys, our team builder and pregame press conference for week 7 of the WBE. The Minnesota Vikavolts are taking on the Milwaukee Sawsbucks and coach MandJTV, our Pokemon trainer Steve. And what looks to be a pretty epic battle here with some crazy weather, man. This is gonna be an interesting battle, and I hope you guys are excited for it. So hit that like button down below and subscribe if you guys are new. If you missed last week's battle, we took on the Pittsburgh Pichus and coach Nexus, and it didn't quite go as well as I would have liked. We took our first loss this season, a 1-0 that came down to pretty much the wire. I made some pretty aggressive plays that didn't work out for me. And in hindsight, I definitely feel like it was a super winnable battle, but all I could do is give props to Nexus because he prepared incredibly well. He was definitely ready for that match, and while I feel like I was ready for the match, he just happened to be one step ahead of me. And I made, like I said, I made some predictions that really kind of cost us. One particularly being the Manectric going for Hidden Power Grass on the Zapdos. Had I just Volt Switch there, I would have been able to get my Kyurem-B in for free. Instead, Kyurem ended up getting poisoned, and that really kind of limited its wall-breaking potential. So we definitely had an opportunity there, and even going down to the last play of the game, we almost could have won if I had made some crazy God tier switch into Skarmory, but there was no way that I was going to predict that. And as soon as he got rocks up, man, that was kind of the end for us. But nevertheless, we're taking on Steve this week. He is 2-4 so far. We're 5-1, so we're doing pretty good. But the thing is about Steve, and I have to mention this, is he has taken advantage of free agency and trading to a whole nother level. I don't even know what his team originally looked like, but I can tell you he's got Scissor now. He previously had Clefable. He didn't even have Rain when the season started. Now he's got Mega Swampert and Politoed, and he somehow managed, he's got our ALOLA and Persian, which we never used. He somehow managed to take a team that was, you know, relatively okay out of draft to what I think is actually one of the best teams in the league now. So let's talk about his team, and then I'm going to talk about what I'm bringing, and hopefully we can pick up a W. So first thing is he's got the Scissor. That is his most frequent acquisition. He actually got it out of a trade. He traded Clefable for it. Scissor was a free agent, but nevertheless, in this match, if Scissor comes, I expect it to be, I definitely think it's going to come, because it's really his only switch into Kyurem Black, but it's probably going to have like Bullet Punch, maybe Swords Dance, Defog U-Turn. I can also see him bringing Natural Gift with an Electric Berry or a Fire Berry, something like that, to try to hit Skarmory. Thundurus is one of the reasons why this team is so scary. It gives him an electric immunity. It also gives him a ground immunity with its typing. It is very detrimental to my team. I expect Thundurus to carry a Z move or Choice Scarf in this match. Steel Z or Fight Z are two really viable options, maybe even Grass Z. But nevertheless, the one thing that saves me from Thundurus this week is he really can't run Dual Dance, I don't think. I don't think he runs Nasty Plot and Agility. I can see him running Nasty Plot. I don't think he runs both. I can see the Scarf set, as I mentioned, but he's got some tough coverage options because he's probably going to want to carry either Steel or Poison moves for Florges. You want Grass Knot for Gastrodon. You want an Electric move, of course. You might want Focus Blast on there. You might want Volt Switch or U-Turn, Electric move. Like, he's got a lot of different options to try to condense in this set. So luckily our team does kind of prevent him from running like the most optimal Thundurus set, but it's still a very scary Pokemon. Azelf could come in a number of different kind of ways. I do expect it to come. Maybe like a Calm Mind Leftovers variant, Lead Stealth Rocker, U-Turner, just, you know, Choice Specs, Choice Scarf. There's a lot of things you can do, so we have to be very mindful of Azelf. Politoed is his primary rain setter. If he brings Politoed, it's either Damp Rock or Choice Scarf, in my opinion. I don't anticipate him bringing anything other than that. I mean, Choice Scarf can be used to catch me off guard, but I think he just brings Damp Rock, potentially with like Whirlpool or Toxic or maybe Encore. He might try to trap something, so we have to be careful there. What is that called? Chestnut. Chestnut is a pretty scary Pokemon as well. It's a very bulky grass and fighting type Pokemon, known for setting up spikes. It also has bulletproof, so it can dodge Sludge Bombs. It could use Spiky Shield to kind of slow down my attacks, and it's a relatively decent Pokemon when you can remove its fire weakness with the rain. The Persian, of course, Alolan Persian. I'm not necessarily sure he brings it unless he's just trying to stunt against me, because I had it earlier in the season and never used it. But Alolan Persian, very scary, obviously, because of its Parting Shot, its ability to switch out, get momentum for the team, and lower opponent's stats, which could be really good. It's a really good lead on his option. I could see him bringing like an offensive set with Nasty Plot, but primarily I think he would bring like a bulky pivot with Taunt. The Quillfish, another Swift Swimmer. He's got a couple Swift Swimmers that you have to kind of keep in mind. Quillfish being one of them. It's actually pretty scary. He can run like Swift Swim Destiny Bond Quillfish. He can run Thunder Wave on it. He can run Toxic Spikes or Spikes. He can run, you know, Poison Jab, Waterfall, Surf. He can actually run quite a few different options on Quillfish. Have to be very mindful of that. The Heatmor, you actually think Heatmor is probably the weakest link to his team, but Heatmor is actually has some viability. Fire Lash is a really good move, so he's got a fire immunity with Heatmor. A lot of immunities on his team, as you can see. That fire immunity and then Fire Lash actually lowers your defense if it hits you, so he can get a Flash Fire boost and then start firing off some pretty powerful Fire Lashes. I don't anticipate him coming, but he can carry a bunch of moves. I think it's like Energy Ball and stuff too. Armaldo is another Swift Swimmer. as if he doesn't have enough. Armaldo being rock and bug types, it doesn't get that stab from water, but it does get the speed boost. If he brings it, I expect it to be like more of an assault vest set, or maybe like an offensive set, but I don't anticipate him bringing like, I don't think Armaldo comes as like his stealth rocker this week. I think he's got some other options. And then last but not least is going to be the Swampert or Mega Swampert, and this thing is very scary because in rain, it just outspeeds everything on my team, and it can really do a lot of damage with things like you know, Waterfall and Earthquake and Ice Punch and maybe even Brick Break, Power Punch, Superpower, Substitute. A lot of different options there. It could be Stealth Rock. I mean, there's a lot of things it can do. So if I had to pick the 6 that I expect him to bring, I think Scizor, Thundurus, Azelf, Politoed, Swampert, and then the last one is a wild card. I think Chestnut actually makes a lot of sense, but I could see him mixing in another one of those water types to try to counteract that. So that's what I'm expecting. I feel pretty confident about the first 5 there. Like I said, Thundurus, Scizor, Azelf, Politoed, Swampert. I think that those make a lot of sense against me. And again, in preparation, I actually feel like this is our hardest match on paper that I've had this season because his team is so scary with rain, but we'll do our best to try to combat that. So let's talk about our team here. First thing I want to mention is we did not bring Gastron last week. It brought Gastron every single match so far except for last week, and we lost. Coincidence? I think not. Gastron, I said at the beginning of the season, is the glue that holds the team together. We need Gastrodon. We're bringing Gastrodon. This is a max defense, max HP Gastrodon with Ice Beam, Earthquake, Scald, Recover with the Rindo Berry as always. I mean, I know I bring the same set for Gastrodon every week, but it's generally the best set, so I don't really feel a need to change it up. Ice Beam's there to do 50% to the Thundurus and kind of slow that thing down again. Steel Z, or if he tries to go for a Grass Knot, I do have the Rindo Berry. We've got Scald there, it's just really nice. Earthquake just to hit things like the Quillfish and stuff like that. Generally, we will click Scald with this thing though. Earthquake isn't super duper useful. It's not like the most useful thing, but it does actually come in handy in some situations. Actually, yeah, I mean, it's really just the Quillfish that we're hitting with that primarily with the Earthquake, but it is worth having in my opinion because we don't want to just get stuck there in front of the Quillfish. We could also hit like, you know, Politoed or something like that neutrally, which is pretty cool too. So Storm Drain means that he's gonna have to Earthquake with Swampert. I actually can live 2 Jolly Earthquakes with my Gastron, which is very nice. I don't have leftovers, but I can live 2. And this is another good way to kind of slow down that Politoed if he does bring the Whirlwind set, or Whirlpool set rather. Next one we're bringing is our Kyurem-Black, a very similar set to what I brought a few weeks ago. It's the ICMZ with the Free Shock, so that big hammer. His only real switch into that move is the Scizor. Scizor actually dies to Fusion Bolt plus Free Shock, or sometimes 2 Fusion Bolts, so that's something to note there. And then I'm also teching the Ice Beam too, because Ice Beam hits the Chestnut and the Thundurus really hard, even if I don't use the Z move, so we've got a couple different options there. But our primary strategy with this Kyurem is to get in against things like Politoed for free, and then set up a substitute, threaten him out. He's gonna go into Scizor, and I can really start to wear that Scizor down. I can actually live hits from Thundurus and stuff. I have a lot of bulk. I'm actually running almost max HP on this, which is a tiny bit of speed. So we really don't have a ton of speed on this thing. It's really just meant for like max speed Scizor, which isn't even that useful because generally it's going to bullet punch me anyway. So we're definitely running like just super offensive Kyurem, and again, Fusion Bolt, Ice Beam, Free Shock sub. It's pretty good. He doesn't really have a Free Shock switch in, so I'm going to make sure I have to get my Kyurem in at the right time, get that Free Shock off, and hopefully really cause some havoc on his team. Because if I can get that sub up, and like if I come in against Politoed, like I get my sub up for free, and then there's nothing he can do, because even if he tried to Encore me and predict that, you know, I can get out of the Encore by Z moving, for those who don't know. So if I sub and he Encores me into sub, I can still Z move into his switch in. So pretty cool stuff there. The next pick is going to be our Skarmory here, bringing just a max defensive Skarmory. This is another way for me to deal with Swampert, and kind of my best ways to deal with Swampert is like Gastro, Skarm together form a really good core, because he can't use a water move against Gastro, and he can't use a ground move against Skarmory, so we have that going for us in a really positive way. We've got Stealth Rock, Defog, Brave Bird, and Roost, so it might be a little weird to see both Stealth Rock and Defog, but you'll see them actually bringing both of my Defoggers this week for a primary reason, because I really need to keep the hazards off my side of the field, and I'd love to have them on his side of the field, because it really helps against the Thundurus. But this thing has the Rocky Helmet to slow down that Scizor. If he goes for bullet punches against Skarmory, he's going to be taking a lot of damage. I can also, the Waterfalls for Swampert are getting punished. Chestnut really doesn't do much to me. A physical variant of Azelf I can wall. I can slow down the Quillfish if he's not Surf, if he brings you know, Waterfall instead. So you've got a couple different options there. The one thing that Skarmory doesn't do well in this match is it doesn't do well when Thundurus comes on the field. So if I bring in Skarmory, he pretty much has a free switch into Thundurus, and if he predicts the Skarmory and goes for U-turn, yeah, Scizor takes a little bit of damage, but Thundurus comes in for free, and I have to really try to be mindful to not let that happen very often. The next spring is going to be our Florges here. Florges is pretty standard again. Wish, Protect, Defog, Moonblast. Max defense with Calm, so I kind of mix defensive. Allows me to slow down the Thundurus, take on the Azelf relatively well, switch into Politoed if I have to. And I mentioned having 2 defoggers, which is both Skarm and Florges, because you'll see the next Pokemon that we're bringing does not want those Stealth Rocks up. I really need to take advantage of that. So pretty standard though, nothing crazy. It's just one of those kind of mid-ground Pokemon that helps me slow down and beats Chestnut, Politoed, Azelf. You know, I can beat the Thundurus if he doesn't have Steel Z or he's not Nasty Plot. So it depends on his sets. Like Florges is either really good in this match or it just gets blown back. So I'm hoping it's going to be the really good part. I'm bringing Talonflame. Talonflame actually finally broke through last week, getting 3 kills against Nexus. It's coming back this week, and when I was building this team, I was really torn, and I'll talk a little bit about the things that I'm not bringing here in a minute, but I was really torn because I felt like I was missing something with this team. My first like 5 or 10 test battles, I was winning some of them, but I just wasn't getting where I wanted to get. And then, you know, Choice Banded Talonflame kind of came to mind as per advice from one of my friends. And I actually feel this is a really, really good set against him. He actually has no switch-ins on the team to Brave Bird outside of Thundurus. Thundurus is the best option to switch in, and it actually dies to 2 Brave Birds like 90-something% of the time. So if he's not Scarf Thundurus, then it just gets wrecked. It's very possible this is my lead because I do have Gale Wings, so I can one-shot the Azelf if he's not Focus Sash. And if he is Focus Sash, then he probably just goes for rocks anyway. So, you know, because he probably just sets up rocks on the first turn, and I outspeed him. So we've got that going for us. I, you know, 2-shot Politoed, I Oko the Chestnut. You know, Cool Fish can intimidate us and whatever, but that's not a huge deal. And we can obviously, if we have our Gale Wings intact, we can actually outspeed the Swampert in Rain and do big damage there. But you could just see, like, Talonflame could easily be the cleaner in this game. It could also be kind of an opener to break through the team. So I'm not sure. When I see team preview, I'll make a decision on that. I either lead Talonflame, Kyurem, or my last Pokemon, but I do think Talonflame has a ton of potential in this match to win the game. And I've got Tailwind on there as a tech for late game. If I think that, you know, we're in a bad spot or I can win the game with Kyurem or something, I can just set up a Tailwind, bring Kyurem in, and then hopefully start bodying some things. But again, with his immunities, it does make it a little bit tricky. And then last but not least is going to be our Manectric. Manectric is bringing a Timid, max HP, good amount of speed, a good amount of special attacks, kind of a bulkier set. He's got Discharge, Substitute, Hidden Power Grass, and Flamethrower. Kind of weird. I was really torn on how to bring this set, and I decided to bring Substitute on it because I feel like he's got a lot of immunities, as I mentioned. The Thundurus having an immunity, you know, the Swampert being immune to electric type moves. So I have some really tough decisions to make. So rather than have to make those tough decisions and potentially predict wrong, I can simply go for Substitute, you know, kind of cover myself on the switch, and then I don't have to predict anymore. I actually put him on the back foot. So it actually helps out a lot there. But we're going to outspeed Azelf, which is nice. This could be my lead. Like I said, it really depends on what I see. It's one of my better switches to Thundurus to slow it down because I do have Lightning Rod before Mega Evolving. And then Hidden Power Grass is really good for Swampert, especially if I've got some Rocky Helmet chip on it or something like that, and he's outside of Rain. But I think if I can eliminate that Rain on that Politoed, it's going to be a really big priority for me is getting rid of that Politoed as soon as possible. So that way he cannot take advantage of Rain. So, like I said, I'm either leading Manectric, Talonflame, or Kyurem. Most likely the latter, the Talonflame or Manectric, because I think Kyurem serves better mid to late game. Talonflame also can serve really well for late game, so I have to kind of make those decisions. It's very tough to make the right decision there. But in terms of the stuff that I'm not bringing Lycanroc. I feel like Lycanroc actually has a decent matchup, but I think Chestnut's got to come, and I can't really do much to that. And with Rain, he can outspeed me. I'm kind of relying on priority. Bullet Punch on Scissor does a lot, so it's not really a good bet there. I was going to bring Sunny Day with Heat Rock on Florges and bring Venusaur with Growth and Life Orb offensive, because I thought that maybe I could sweep him with a Sunny Day Venusaur, but I just felt like that was too unreliable in testing. And that's the other thing to note about Thundurus is, you know, if I bring like a specially defensive Venusaur, Thundurus generally doesn't touch it unless it carries Psychic. So again, one more move that makes it tough for him to make decisions there. Zoroark almost made the team again. Like I almost brought Zoroark as like a Black Glasses set with like, you know, Night Days and Knockoff and Sucker Punch or whatever, because it could have been really good, but I decided to go against that. And then I think the last thing would be the Passimian. Passimian just doesn't really have a super good matchup. It doesn't hit hard enough, and there's too many Pokemon that can really slow it down too much, and Scarf doesn't really do much for it because I get outsped by the Swift Swimmers anyway. So that's our team. That's what we're going to be bringing. Like I said, this is definitely one of the tougher matchups on paper that I've seen. I do think it's a very winnable game for sure. Steve is a pretty decent battler, but he's got a tremendous team. So I think for us, it's just going to be about getting the momentum up, trying to keep the Swampert and the Thundurus at bay. And I think I can handle most of the other threats relatively well, but this game is going to come down to 1 or 2 predictions and just making the right plays. And if we can do that, then I think we'll be all right. I just have to really make sure I take my time and think through those plays and make the right ones. So that's going to be that, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and the battle will be up tomorrow. That's going to be it for me, guys. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.